Hi, all. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira, and the time has come, my friends. It is my declutter video series. I always aim to do this at least within the first 2 months of the year. I very rarely can actually get it in gear to do it in January, so it almost always falls into February. So here we are, right on time, right on schedule. So, just to give you a preface for this declutter series, I actually feel like this year I'm going to get rid of quite a lot. Um, I have a lot of things in my collection, overall collection, that are just sort of aging out, that are expiring, that have expired. I have a lot of things that I just don't use anymore, that are just not my aesthetic or taste anymore. And so I feel like maybe not in every category, but there are some categories that are coming up that will be pretty brutal in my declutter. Not extreme, but I'm gonna cull the herd. So first off, I'm going to start with complexion products. So that is foundations, concealers, and powders. I have pulled out all of my foundations, concealers, and powders, and we're gonna go through them. The thing about declutters for me is almost always know in my head what I'm gonna get rid of, and then there's a few things that I'm kind of on the fence about. But for this particular category, I feel this is going to go pretty quickly, pretty straightforward, because I know what is expired. I know what I don't use anymore, or what I don't like. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So look, some more room here. All right, so this is my little drawer of concealers. I have a makeup caddy that I use for my my monthly or seasonal makeup capsules. So I pulled everything from those, and the things that were in that caddy at the moment were these three concealers. So this is the Tower 28 Serum Concealer, and I have it in the shade. What shade is this? I don't know. They're so small. I think this is OC. I think this is OC. Yeah, I know everybody's been raving about this concealer, but I think it's okay. I don't think it's amazing. And then I have the Gucci concealer, which has been growing on me the more I use it. It is a matte finish, and I've actually really liked pairing it with more skin finish or dewy finish foundations, because it just kind of balances things out. But yeah, I've been reaching for this one quite a bit, and it's been growing on me, so this will stay. And then this is my Givenchy skin caring concealer. I've raved about this concealer for many moons. It's not going anywhere. It's a go-to. Why does all the traffic begin when I start filming? But yeah, this is a stay for me. We are getting to our first declutter. I don't even know if I included this in my ranking when I did my concealer ranking last year. I bought this at the beginning of 2023 or spring 2023, and I absolutely hated it. This is the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Light Illuminating Smoothing Concealer in Honey Bun. It's not good. That's such a simplistic way to put it, but it's just not that good of a concealer, guys. I found that it was really drying. It was supposed to be like illuminating and smoothing. I don't generally have issues with like concealers making my skin look terrible, but this made my skin look terrible. Like, this gave me dry, crackly under eyes, and that's a no-go for me. So yeah, this was already just a foregone conclusion that this would be going bye-bye. Next up, I want to dig into the ones that I know for sure that I'm keeping. Again, so I'm keeping my House Labs. I absolutely love this one. I have it in the shade 31 Medium Neutral. It's one of my go-tos. I love it with the House Labs foundation, which is one of my faves. But I've also really been wearing it. I've been really enjoying it with the About Face Beauty Performer foundation. It's a nice combo, so I like it with that. I actually really like the Flower Beauty, what is this one called? The Get Real Serum Concealer, and I have the shade Medium Honey. This is a really nice concealer. It's got more coverage than I was expecting it to have, but it does have a really nice natural finish. I am also keeping the Glowish concealer, the Bright Light Sheer Concealer. This one I have a kind of like a mixed feelings about. I like it, but I don't love it. But when I pair it with the right base product, it's actually really nice. So it's just one of those that I kind of reach for as needed, and I enjoy it. I'm going to keep this. I am also keeping my Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. This is one of the concealers that again, when I did my ranking, I was kind of on the fence about, and I didn't know if I liked, but then the more I used it, the more I enjoy it. This is a great concealer for me when I'm doing a no foundation look and I still want coverage. This is a great one to reach for me, and along with another one, which I'm going to grab now because I had it mixed in with my foundations because it's kind of how I wear it. So this one's going to stay because I do really enjoy that. And then, of course, like I said, the one I just pulled, this is one that I talked about in my favorites video, and it is the Urban Decay Stay Naked Quickie 24-hour wear multi-use concealer. I use this like a foundation, and I just apply it in places that I need coverage, and I blend it out. And it actually gives a really nice finish and really nice medium to full coverage. But because it has that high pigment, I don't have to use a lot of it. I can blend it out, and it just gives me this really beautiful perfected skin look without it looking like I'm wearing a ton of base product. So this one has become a go-to for me, and it will definitely be staying. Next up is the Valentino concealer. This is another one where I like it. It's not like my favorite, but it's one that I can use and it gets the job done. I would say this is a pretty basic concealer, especially for the brand and the price point. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this if you're looking for like an amazing concealer. This is a good concealer, you know, and I think for the price point, I'm going to hold on to it and get some use out of it, but it's not anything that blew me away. And then I have a mini of what used to be my go-to concealer, which is the Kosas Revealer Concealer, and then I have it in the shade 07N. I haven't reached for this as much, and I'm glad I got a mini and not a large size because it would probably go bad before I could finish it if I had a full size, because the Givenchy has really kind of taken the place of my Kosas as my go-to. So I'm going to keep this because it's a nice small mini, and I can take this with me for travel if I want to. Yeah, so I like it, but it's not, I've kind of, its place has been stolen by the Givenchy. Okay, now let's get into what's getting decluttered. Let me take this thing out. And I'll clean these out as well because I've got makeup all in them, which is lovely. So these are all the ones that are going. This is what I'm getting rid of along with this. And I can tell you what I'm getting rid of. I'm getting rid of the Say. I mentioned this is a product that I just didn't really love, and I still feel that way. Here's the thing. I don't hate this, but I don't love it. It feels to me, the Say Beauty, if you have maybe like the House Labs, you don't need the Say Beauty one. The textures are the same, but the finish of this one and the way it performs is 1,000 times better. But I will say that this has more coverage than this one. And so for me, they both kind of have like almost like a gel-like consistency. But this one just doesn't do anything for me. And then I have the Kofi concealer, the Main Match Concealer in Mango Drop. This one I just didn't get along with. It didn't do anything for me. I was kind of underwhelmed by it. I have the Stellar Beauty concealer. These three I've just had forever, and they're all great concealers. I have the Stellar Beauty. I have the Shiseido Synchro Skin Refreshing Concealer. I hated the foundation version of this, but love the concealer version. And then I just have my OG, NARS Radiant Creamy and Caramel. These are all great concealers. They're just old and they need to go. So I've got three that I just didn't like and three that just need to be, they just need to go away. So yeah. I need to find something to put all the ones that are going away. And this thing is like shedding, so it looks like it has little pieces of hair, but it's actually just the little mesh thing that I sit in here. So I'm gonna have to like shake this out at some point. So yeah, I'll put these all in, and look, they now all fit. Now I don't have, because before they were outgrowing the drawer, and so now that all of these are going, all the ones that I like can stay in one drawer. Ah, this is what I like about declutters, guys, is that you can just kind of like, you have more space. You have more space than you realize. Okay, let's put these here. Now, let's talk foundations. Let's do it.
I thought I had called her, but I don't. Hold on a second. I'm still missing foundation too.
All right, guys, so these are the foundations. Again, this is a lot, but it's not as much as I used to own. I did do quite a large declutter about a year and a half ago. But this is also a lot that needs to go because it's just expired. Like, they're just old foundations that I don't reach for, that I don't need. Some of them are just because preferences have changed. And then there's ones in here that you may recognize from my most disappointing products of 2023 video. So those are just like a foregone conclusion that they're going to go away. And honestly, I would have tossed them anyway after that video, but I knew I was doing this declutter, so I held on to them so that I could include them in this presentation for you. So first up, we're going to go with the Stellar Beauty Limitless Foundation in the shade S14. This was my favorite foundation for so long. It was my go-to. Last time I tried it, I wasn't as in love with it, and I realized that it was because my tastes have changed. This is a matte, medium to full coverage foundation. So it's just not my jam anymore, and also this is quite old, so it's time for it to go. Same goes for my Liz Beauty or LYS Beauty Triple Fix Serum Foundation. I like this foundation. I know a lot of people talked about how this was a sort of like very comparable to the Anastasia foundation, which I really liked. And I probably would have repurchased, but I'm not buying from ABH right now. So they're just kind of like a brand that's fallen off my radar, and I'm just kind of not interested. But if I were, I would repurchase that one before I would repurchase this one, mainly because the finishes are very similar, but I find that that one just looks better on my skin for longer. But yes, I have the Triple Fix Serum Foundation in the shade TG5. This isn't a bad foundation, guys. I think if you like the ABH and you don't want to purchase from ABH, or you want something a little bit less expensive, I think this one is only like $22, $28, something like that. This is a great option. This is a great, the formulas are comparable in that way. Just for me personally, I felt like that one lasts longer on my skin. So that's why I would prefer that one. But I still would highly recommend this one. It's a good foundation. But I've just had it too long and I don't reach for it anymore. So it needs to go. Same goes for, and oh my god, I guess it was leaking. This is the Ordinary Serum Foundation, and this is not even made anymore. They discontinued this product, but this was my jam. This is the product that made me realize that I actually really love like serum foundations and foundations that are like your skin but better. Up until that point, I was a full coverage matte foundation girl, and I bought this on a whim. I bought this one and the full coverage version. I absolutely loathed the full coverage version, but this one I absolutely fell in love with, and I've repurchased this 3 times. Like, I've gone through 2 bottles of this before. So that's just, you know, a sign of how much I really liked this. It was a really affordable foundation. I kind of was really bummed that they discontinued it, but if they weren't selling it and it wasn't, you know, a profitable product for them, then I get that. But yes, this was my jam for many, many years. And this one I've had forever. I haven't reached for it since. I do feel like there are now better serum foundations on the market than this one, but at the time, this was kind of like when serum foundations were like just showing up on the scene. And it was one of the better ones of that time, but I have other ones in my collection now that I would prefer over this one, and this one is quite old. So again, it goes. Also getting decluttered is this e.l.f. Halo Glow filter, liquid filter. Some people would say this is like a primer. This is like a foundation for me, but if you can see how orange this is, it's just so... This just was not my jam, and I think for me, I just need to come to the conclusion that maybe I am just not the girl that wears like liquid illuminators underneath her products, you know, her foundation. concealer, excuse me. I just am not that girl. I want to be, but I'm just not. But also, this was just not the right shade. I wasn't in love with the formula. It's supposed to be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury. I think the Charlotte Tilbury is just a tad more sophisticated than this one, I have to say. So is it a good dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury? Sure. I think it's a fine dupe. I don't think it's an amazing dupe. But yeah, this for me was, and this was one of the products that was in my worst products of 2023. So it's kind of a given. Also on that worst products of 2023 is the RMS Beauty Revolve Satin Foundation. I have it in the shade 44. I also have it in the shade 55, which is also getting decluttered. I have the little refill thingy. Me and this foundation, if you want to hear me talk about this foundation more in depth, I will try to remember to put a card up about the worst products of 2023, and I kind of go into more detail about why I dislike this so much. But yeah, if you watched that video, then you know that this is kind of a given as well. Next up, we have a product that I actually decluttered. I remember decluttering this in a declutter, and then I changed my mind, and I was like, no, I'm not going to declutter it because I really like it. And then I never reached for it. So it's like, why are you still holding on to this? But this is a really good product, guys. This is when I was decluttering this, it was during one of my more brutal declutters, and it was one of those situations where you kind of get to the point where you're like, I'm just getting rid of everything, and I got rid of it. But I have used this quite a bit in the past, and it's a beautiful product if you like a really glowy tinted moisturizer. I am not one for the tinted moisturizer. If I'm going to do something that's lightweight, light finish, I'm probably going to go for a serum foundation. I just like with a liquid illuminator, I just am not a tinted moisturizer kind of gal. So, but if you like tinted moisturizers, I think this is a beautiful one, and I wear the shade medium tan if you are a, foundation twin with me. This is the shade that I wear, and I think it's really beautiful, but I just don't use it. I am also getting rid of, guys, the Le Beige Touche Détente Water Fresh Complexion Touch. This is just really warm on me, and the last time I tried to use it, I just was like, the first time I used it, I actually liked it, and I was like, why did I like this? It's very, you see how it does this thing, and I don't know if this is because it's gotten old, but do you see how it's just like, that's gross. And then look how orange it is. Like, what was I thinking? I don't know if I was just like wanting to love it because it was so expensive or what, but this is gone. It serves no purpose. Also leaving is the Tower 28 Sunny Days Broad Spectrum Tinted Sunscreen in the shade 40 Runyon. I really liked this initially when I first got it, and I wore it quite a bit, and then I put it down for a little while, and I picked it back up I want to say last summer, and I was noticing that I kept getting breakouts, and I was like, what is breaking me out? And I think it was this. So I don't know if it's expired. This is a clean beauty product. So I don't know if it's expired or if just my skin doesn't like it as much as it did in the past. But yeah, this has to go. And it is a, has sunscreen in it. So I don't know if that's what the issue is. It says safe for sensitive skin, won't cause breakout. I don't know about all that, but again, I did like this on initial purchase, and I did wear it quite a bit, and I got quite a bit of use out of it, as you can see. So it's not like it's going away, and it's, I probably, if this hadn't given me issues, I probably could have finished it. But yeah, I think this was what was breaking me out, and the reason for my thinking that is the moment I stopped using it, my skin started breaking out. So yeah. Also going, this was in my most disappointing products of 2023. I didn't like this. I don't reach for it. It can go bye-bye. And then also leaving is the Say Beauty Glowy Super Skin Foundation in the shade 19. Now, I feel kind of bad about getting rid of this because I didn't wear it very often. The shade 19 is really, really warm. It's warmer than it looks on the model. And as a result, it makes me look like an Oompa Loompa, so I don't reach for it. But also when I did wear it, I wasn't like that impressed by the formula. I thought it was good. It was better than I was expecting because I'd heard such like weird things about Say's complexion products. So I think my expectations were so low that when it wasn't terrible, I was like, oh, it's actually really good. It's okay. The thing that does bug me is that this has been sitting on my, like, in my little caddy on my makeup desk, and this has just been slowly separating into like a gross oil film on the top, and I just don't want to put that on my face. Like, staring at that every day, I was just like, ew, ew. So yeah, we're just gonna say goodbye to it. All right, so all of these here are the ones that I'm keeping. Now, these two, this is what I hate about drugstore. So these two, you see how gross these are? I kept trying to keep them clean, and I finally just gave up because they kind of leak. And so when I use them, the lids just get filthy, and it drives me insane. And this lid won't even go on. Okay, there we go. Finally. So I have two shades of this. This is what I find funny. So this one is supposed to be the neutral one, and this one is supposed to be the warm one. I'm sorry? Where? Who? Can you see that? They're both 6.5. Do you see this? This is the neutral. This is the warm. In what world? In what world, L'Oreal? But this is a nice foundation. And I think I'm probably going to take this foundation with me when I travel in April, because what I like about this foundation is I'm going to a climate that is quite humid. But it's sort of like that kind of foundation that really just kind of stays nice. It's not dewy. It's not overly matte. It's just like a natural finish. And I feel like this will do well in a humid climate. But the reason why I have two of these is because this one is actually quite neutral and I need just a tad bit of warmth. So I bought this one to just add to this one. I can probably wear this one on its own in the winter, but when it's a little bit warmer out, my skin's a little bit deeper in tone, not so much. But I will keep both of these for that purpose. But I do actually really like this foundation. It's just that the components suck and the shade descriptions suck. This is the newest product in my collection. It is the e.l.f. Hydrating CC Cream with a long-lasting dewy finish. It is actually really long-lasting. I was actually quite surprised by that. And I don't actually think it's that dewy. I think it's really just like natural. Like, I don't get super oily wearing this. I don't feel like a grease ball. That's why I stay away from super dewy products. My skin is normal to oily, and I do get quite oily in my T-zone depending on like the environment that I'm in, or if I'm warm. So for me, I tend to stay away from dewy products. I can do glowy, I can do luminous, I can do natural satin. I'm not a huge super matte fan. So I was a bit trepidatious about this, but I've worn this a handful of times and it is quite a nice CC cream. I will say the shade is a tiny bit off. I might get the other shade that's a little bit warmer, and maybe that one is too warm for me, so I think I'm going to just add, maybe if I like this enough to continue to wear it regularly, I might pick up that one just to add a few drops in. But this is one of the things that I do say I really dislike about drugstore foundations, that I almost always have to do the thing where I buy two shades. And it kind of annoys me, but what are you going to do? Another drugstore foundation that really surprised me and that I didn't have to buy a second shade in is the Revlon Illuminate Serum Tint Broad Spectrum SPF 15. I always ignore the SPF because I just wear regular SPF in the shade 405. This is beautiful. It's very much like your skin, but better. There's not a ton of coverage to it, but it's just enough. Yeah, I've been wearing this one, but I would say these are very similar in their finish. On me. They both kind of give like, I would actually say this one is even more luminous than this one is, even though it's supposed to be like a dewy finish. This one is more radiant on me, but I feel like these can function quite similarly. So if you have this one, you may not need this one. This one's a bit more affordable, so, you know, drugstore options. Next, I have and this one's getting oily too, and I really hate that. And I know that foundations do that, but it just grosses me out. This is the Rituel Defeat 3-Drop Weightless Serum Foundation. I actually really do like this. I like this more than I thought I would like it. I thought it would be too greasy, dewy for me, but it's actually not. It's actually quite a natural finish on me, and the coverage is nice. I don't know how much longer I will keep it though. I'm going to keep it this round. But because of the whole like having to shake it up and getting separated and stuff, stuff like that tends to like bum me out, to be quite honest, and I don't want to use it, and I'm like, oh. So, and it has the little this little squeezy thing that actually gets quite, can get clogged. And it kind of reminds me of the KBD Beauty foundation, the one that came in like the white tube. I had that and I really liked that as well. The textures of those two foundations are very similar. The finishes are different, but the textures are similar. And that one used to get clogged all the time and separate. And this is what this one is doing. So I'm wondering if like the formulations are quite similar. But yeah, I'm gonna, this will survive this round and we'll see how we do. And then we have the Laura Mercier Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation. I talked about this in my, I ranked all of my foundations that I tried in 2023. So if you really want to see my full thoughts on like this one and a lot of these that are here, because these are newer foundations, you can watch that video. I'll try to remember to put a card up. But yes, this I actually really like. It is full coverage. It does have a weightlessness to it. It has sort of like this really beautiful, almost like airbrush blurring quality to it that is really nice. Maybe I'll take this one with me. I don't know. I haven't decided. I've got time to think about it, but I do really like this. It's just not one that I reach for very often because this for me is a very much like a foundation. You know what I mean? Then we have the Glossier Stretch Fluid Foundation, and I have the shade Medium Tan 1. This one kind of really surprised me how much I like it. I haven't reached for it a lot recently because I've had newer things come into my collection that I've been testing. But I do really, really enjoy this. I like it more than I thought I would. So it will stay. Then we have the House Labs. This isn't going anywhere. This is like my favorite foundation. My favorite foundation used to be the Kosas. And I did have the Kosas in my collection, but that started breaking me out as well, and I think that one had just expired, so I just got rid of it. Like I took it out of my capsule, and I was just like, no, this has to go. So I just tossed it that day. So unfortunately, I don't have that to talk about, but I did have that, and that used to be my main chick, but this one's my main chick now. Yeah, I love this foundation. I love the concealer. I think these are really beautiful complexion products, and they have never let me down. I've worn this in the summer. I've worn this in the cold. I took this to Vegas with me. I've worn it in, -0 temps. It just performs for me, you guys. It just gives me what I need. Same goes for the Smashbox Always On. It just gives me what I need. It's such a great utilitarian, like get the job done foundation. I love it. This one is one of the newer ones to my collection as well. I really like this. Like I said in my the last time I talked about this, is that I feel like I need to get a different shade. I think this one is too warm. I'm gonna hold on to this for now, but I do plan on eventually picking up another shade, and then after that I might let this specific one go. I then have the Givenchy Skin Caring Glow foundation. This foundation and I have been on a journey together, a journey of self-discovery, because when I first tried it, I absolutely hated it, and it was because I just didn't understand what the hell I had purchased. I was not expecting this dewy light to light medium coverage foundation, and that's what this is. And I was not meeting it where it was. Once I understood what I had gotten my hands on, I came into it with more realistic expectations. And actually I added this, I'm doing like a winter makeup capsule refresh, and this I added to, I was testing to see if I wanted to like add it into the capsule for the rest of winter, and it's been promoted to my winter makeup capsule because I wore this like most of last week and I was so impressed by it. So yeah, this will stay. This one I will stay as well for now. I don't dislike this foundation. I just feel like the shade is off. It's in the shade. This is the Shiseido Revitaliscent Skin Glow Foundation, and I did do a review on this on my channel, so I will either leave a card or leave it in the description. And I have it in the shade 360 Citrine, and Citrine is usually my shade in the Shiseido foundations, but for some reason this one is incredibly light, and it might be the sunscreen in it, but it's just so light, and I find that it just doesn't, it's very neutral, which is fine, but I just feel like on my skin it just looks a little off. The foundation itself is actually quite nice, and I can make this work when I use like bronzers and things like that, but I like this foundation, but I don't know if it will survive the next declutter. It just really depends on me seeing how much I actually reach for this in the coming year or 6 months or whenever. I used to do 2 declutters a year, but I've kind of gone to a once a year because I just don't have the time, you know. But yeah, let's see how this does in this year, and if it gets used, if my feelings about it change, you know, we'll revisit, and maybe it'll stay, maybe it won't. All right, guys, so this is everything that was decluttered. So this is everything that was decluttered and that is going away. So we're gonna move these out of the way. And this is everything that is stained. So I'm actually keeping, I feel like, quite a bit, but I also got rid of quite a bit. So I feel like now a lot of this can go in these drawers and they'll fit nicely, and I don't have to keep them like out on top of my vanity, you know. So that's cool. That's fun. This won't fit. I think that's, oh wait, yeah, so I feel like, yeah. So yeah, these can fit on top of my vanity, and then these can stay in the drawers, and I'm happy with that. So now everything else is gone. I feel good about that. Next up, guys, let's do powders. And here's the thing, I don't own a lot of powder. I'll bring it all out. This is what I own, and this is technically not a powder, but we're gonna talk about it. So first up, my Givenchy Prism Libre powder, and I have it in the shade Pamplemousse Mimosa, and I love this. It's not going anywhere. This is the mini version. I still have a ton of product in it, as you can see, because I don't use a lot of powder. So this will stay because I really enjoy this. So that's a given. This is gonna stay. This is the newest version of the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. This is the old version in the old packaging. And what I mentioned in my last, I did an e.l.f. try new e.l.f. products video, I mentioned that this one is a little too dark for me, and it tends to darken my foundations. I really like it as a powder, but I wasn't reaching for it for that reason. So I decided to get, when I was placing my e.l.f. order, to get a new one that has that is a slightly lighter shade. So this is the shade medium beige, and this is the shade medium, and this is such a better match for me. So this one's gonna go, not because it's bad or anything, but it's just not the right shade for me. And then next up, I have this really old Too Faced Peach Perfect mattifying setting powder. This, and look how much I have left, guys. Look at this, is so much product. They gave you so much product in this thing, which was great. And I've panned 2 of these. Back when I was a powder girly, I panned 2 of these, okay, because I was the type of gal who only had 1 powder, and that was the powder that I used, and so it was very easy for me to go through a powder. And I'm not a powder girly anymore, which is why I kind of want to just get rid of it, because I'm not going to use it. But also I feel like maybe I will, because I am going out of town, and I'm going someplace that's quite humid, and maybe that'll be a way for me to get some use out of this. But it's also really old, and I don't know, like, I don't know if I should even use it anymore. Does it still smell like peaches? Let's see. Too Faced still holds its scent so well, but let me see. Still smells like peaches, y'all. Still smells like peaches. So I don't know. I need to think about this one. There's a part of me, these are discontinued now, so I couldn't repurchase this if I wanted to. But I also don't really love that super flat matte look anymore. You know, even when I'm setting, and even in a humid environment, I'm still not going for that, like that flat matte look. And I haven't reached for this in ages. And I honestly, when I was going through picking up my powders off of my desk, this was sitting in the back, and I was like, oh yeah. I think that just kind of answered the question, you know, my question of should I keep this. The answer is no, because I'm not using it and I don't think about it. So off it goes. All right, now we come to the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin. This is the Blurring Balm Powder. Now, this is the shade that I have. I have the shade 6. Here's the thing about this. I really want to like this, but the problem is there is an ingredient in here that can break me out, and as a result I get really like anything that really has lots of heavy silicones, my skin doesn't usually respond well to. So I really want to like this because it does do what it says it's going to do. It has Upsolite in it. It is very oil absorbing. It is very blurring, and I love that aspect of it, and that's why I kind of keep it around for those days that I really need that. But at the same time, last summer I didn't reach for this because I was so afraid that it was going to give me breakouts, and when I do get breakouts from silicone, it's usually those like really bad like under the skin type of breakouts that last forever. It's not like whiteheads, you know what I mean? But I also like can see the benefit of having it when I like absolutely need it. Again, I'm traveling somewhere in April that has a really humid climate. This would be a perfect product for that. But also, like, do I want to deal with like the aftermath of having like cystic acne, cystic breakouts after the fact? You know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, do I suffer for beauty? Do I suffer for beauty? All right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm gonna see if I use it or if I take it with me. If I decide to take it with me on my trip in April, then we'll know. If I don't, then I'm gonna get rid of it. That's the compromise I'm making there. Next up, I have my 2 setting sprays. I have the Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist, which I use quite a bit in the summer. And then I have this one from Rare Beauty, which is like a little mini, and it's the Always Optimist 4-in-1 Mist. And this one's more oily. This is when you like are going for the dewy vibes. I bought this in... Did I buy this in Vegas? I think I bought this in Vegas because I just needed a setting spray that was going to give me a little bit more like hydration to my skin. But I haven't reached for this since, and I don't know if I will. Again, it's pretty brand new. I haven't used that much of it. It's about, I don't even know if you can see, it's like that much used. So it's not that much gone. I'm probably more likely to reach for this one than I am for this one. I don't know. You know, I'm gonna hold on to it for now because it is newer. I'm definitely holding on to this one. I actually like this. This is a really good dupe for the Urban Decay, by the way, if you're interested in knowing about that, and if you're in the market for a dupe for that that's inexpensive. I bought this on a whim because I needed a setting spray and I didn't want to spend a lot of money because I don't use setting sprays, guys. That's the thing. This is why I only have these 2. I don't use setting sprays anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore. So when on the rare occasion that I need one, this is the one that I would reach for. And it's a good one. I think I might take this one with me. It's a good one. So yeah, I'm gonna hold on to these for now. This one is the one that's on the like on the bubble, but this one is staying. All right, so let me count up everything that I am decluttering in this video. $18 items, guys. I have decluttered 18 items out of my complexion products, which I am actually really happy with because that's essentially like, let's see, that's 11 of that is foundations, and that's the main category or part of this category that I wanted to declutter the most, is that I knew I had a lot of foundations that I just needed to like be done with. So I am happy with this. I am happy with the amount that I've gotten rid of. Most of this is stuff that can just be tossed. A lot of it is old. A lot of it is just not my fave. The RMS, I might see if someone wants it. I also have the 55 like little replacement thingy, the refill. So I might see if someone wants this because this is relatively new. I bought this in, I want to say, summer of last year. So yeah, but everything else I'm pretty good with just tossing. Yeah. All right, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to hit the like button, and I will see you guys in the next declutter.